know you?
So I am Nadja. I'm the co-founder of Adlunum, which is a gamified Web3 investment ecosystem. I know that's a mouthful. So basically, in a nutshell, what we do is if you are engaging on social media, you are part of the hype, you are part of the FOMO creation. We are the platform that if you link up with us, that engagement, that intention, that time that you are giving to projects that are needing your support, that gives you allocation into IDO projects. So early stage investment is where we are at. We have an accelerator, we have a launch pad, we have multiple media brands, of which Altcoin Observer that we are part of. That's how we connected today, is part of our really just ecosystem of various brands to support projects in the space and also to support retail investors in the space.
Yep. Why? Let's take it one by one. Why did you start Altcoin Observer?
So altcoin. So actually, the funny thing is that my entry into Web3 was through media. Yeah. So I had left a corporate job. I was heading up digital marketing for a global pharma company, and quit that job, became a digital nomad, traveled the world with my son, all super fun and exciting. But I became bored very quickly. And so then a friend said, "Hey, there's someone is wanting a journalist," and I love writing, not as a career, but I didn't have a reason to say no. I was free. I was lying on the beach, literally. Yeah. And then I came in, Bitcoin.com, investing.com, Be in Crypto. I worked for all of these publications, and very quickly understood that yes, we are building solutions, but it's actually the problems that we are solving for that I didn't know were so serious. Yeah. So crypto and blockchain was my entry point into understanding the complexities in society that I hadn't understood before at that level. Because not until there were solutions that we start talking in detail about the problems. Yeah. So media was actually the entry point of my career into Web3. And so I think media is an incredibly powerful force for good or not so good. So we focus exclusively almost on thought leadership, exactly like we are doing right now, because I think that the conversations that are happening in the space, part of my job is to go to different countries, speak at conferences. So I'm always at events. I'm always speaking to people, and I feel as a builder in the space that enriches me, that enriches my company, that enriches my community. But we are not all able to travel from country to country and have these in-person meetings. But there's a lot of alpha being shared here. Yeah. And so what Altcoin does is really to have this ethos of, look, if you can't come to the alpha will come to you. Yeah. And so we have regular discussions on a weekly basis. We also have 2 podcasts, Future of NFTs, which I host. It's really the future of Web3, future of, I guess, technology. We've had Sony Pictures Entertainment on. We've had Sports Illustrated. So basically anyone who's doing something in Web3, we speak to them, understand why are they in Web3? Because I think for the DJs in the space, everything should be Web3 just because. I love your glasses, by the way. I just realized it's very cool. And so for us, everything should be Web3. Yeah. But if we want mass adoption, the Web2 folks and the TradFi and the Trad everything folks, they are not looking at it from the perspective of, no, we have to put it on the blockchain. They have very good reasons to do so or not. Yeah. And so I think for us to have these conversations, that is really the power of adoption, is for people to understand, not by watching a YouTube video by an influencer that is, they are saying all the right things at the right time. We need to understand from the people building things what's really going on, what's right, what's wrong, what are we not looking at. And so that's really the mission of Altcoin.
Yeah. You said that you started it because there were certain problems that you wanted to solve. What were those problems? Sorry.
So I think, I must be, at least in my career, one of those glass half empty people, because I feel like the only thing I ever look at in this industry are the problems. Yeah. But you need to intimately understand, the pain points that people are experiencing. So I'll start by saying I don't think there's ever been anything as democratizing as the technology of decentralized technology. Yeah. And that's the opportunity, that's the solution. Yeah. But trickling down from that, it's humans implementing these technologies. Yeah. It's a trustless technology, but the reason it's so powerful is because humans are not guaranteed to be trusted. Yeah. And so the industry that has evolved around the decentralized technology, that's not necessarily always the best industry. So the problems, yes, there are problems with the tech. I'm not a developer, so I can't say what they are. There's amazing people here at this DevCon week that are talking all about it. What I see are the problems in terms of we are building an alternative to machines that have been here forever. The traditional financial system, that didn't start yesterday, it didn't start with the Bitcoin white paper. It's been here for a while. If we want to disrupt and ultimately, I'm not sure about replace, but maybe merge, we've got a lot of work to do, right? But then the industry needs to be cleaned up. It needs to be a safe space for people to work in, to trade in, to invest in, and there's a lot of work to be done there. So I think, for us, and especially for me in terms of the way I see my involvement in this industry, the job is not going to be done. Like there's so much time, and I'm going to run out of lifetime before I run out of problems to solve. And I think if we all take this approach and say, hey, there's incredible opportunities here, and let's capitalize on them, but let's not focus exclusively on what we can gain, but we also need to ensure that 10 years from now, this industry is still here. And it has a much bigger impact in 10 years than it has right now, where your grandmother doesn't understand what blockchain is. And she doesn't need to in 10 years, but I'm hoping she'll use a blockchain solution in 10 years. But that's on us.
Sure. Since you're the founder of Altcoin Observer, a lot of these conferences focus on the main cryptos like blockchain or Ethereum. Why don't we see enough altcoin conferences?
First of all, money. It's expensive. I think that that DevCon is one of the few conferences that's able to draw so many people, even if they are not here for EVM. I call them like mega conferences. So you have, for example, DevCon, which I've never been to. I didn't realize it was one of these. I'm very happy to see that. Definitely back next year, wherever it's going to be. And then you have a Token 2049 type conference. Now, Token 2049, very B2B focused, of course. DevCon, very developer focused. And so then you see that a lot of the sponsors, a lot of the side events, the money essentially that's flowing into these things. So it's basically a mini little ecosystem that pops up. So if you look at the DevCon philosophy of attracting sponsors, you apply to be a sponsor at DevCon. I think like 10% get approved. Whereas at other conferences, anyone can be a sponsor. So I think it's the pay-to-play model versus what is the actual impact you would like to have. So I think the Ethereum Foundation, of course, has always had more of an eye and has always kept more of an eye, because when I came into the industry in 2017, I was able to talk about the ethos, the philosophy, the values, of freedom, of self-sovereignty, of privacy, of the cypherpunk movement is where all of this originated, right? And so I kind of caught the tail end of that when I came into the industry. Most people, before the ICO craze started, most people were still so focused. And today you don't really hear that in conversation. We don't talk about why this was all created and why it all matters. But I think the Ethereum Foundation has managed to continue holding on to that. And so that's perhaps with altcoins, it's far more of a business, money, return on investment outcome, which is, it doesn't feel the same, right? It doesn't feel like if you're somewhere for a week with people from all over the world, you want to feel hugged by the industry. And I feel with B2B conferences, that's not always the case. You're there to get a return on investment, and you either did it or you didn't. Here at DevCon, I'm grateful. I'm reminded of why I'm grateful to be in Web3. So yeah, it's an amazing space. Come next year.
Absolutely. Why don't you talk about Ad Lunam a little bit?
So focusing still on the problem-solving aspect of it. So I think, for us so we are kind of two branches of the same tree. Yeah. We are a SocialFi solution. Now, the reason I say SocialFi is quite a, let's say, controversial narrative at the moment. Okay. We have seen so many SocialFi solutions that have just absolutely failed, like brilliantly, masterfully, like almost as if it was planned to fail from the start. Yeah. Now, okay, because these things are not planned for actual genuine utility. The utility is the hype. The hype around the launch, that's basically the utility of the token. So of course, once the launch is over, I mean, who's going to stick around? So I think social has incredible potential. I mean, look at what you and I are doing. We are having a conversation. Yeah. Humans want to converse. That's all they want to do. Now, how are we building every solution in Web3 except social? Yeah. Clearly, there's going to come a time for social. Maybe we're early, maybe it's not now, but we cannot continue to have a Web3 experience on Twitter and on Reddit and on Discord and on Telegram, right? Telegram is perhaps, I think, the closest to merging the two. Yeah. So from a social-fi perspective, we focus on engagement around early stage projects. So let's say you come to us, you have, let's say, a seed investor, you're looking to take that whole roadmap forward. So now you're going to get institutional investors, you're going to get exchanges that are going to list you, launchpads that are going to list you, KOLs that are going to endorse you. So all of those things are part of a roadmap, right? Part of a package, and one very specific thing needs to come in front of another, or ahead of, or behind other very specific thing. So the business of IDOs, institutional investment and public investment, I mean, that is what we focus on a daily basis. However, that's also kind of split into projects, which is the accelerator part, and then the launchpad and the social-fi platform, which is retail focused. But they also merge. So on a daily basis, imagine you are a retail investor. You want to invest in this Metaverse project. Now, we are able to look, we as a platform, you connect your wallet. So we are able to look at your wallet and see, you love Metaverse tokens. You've invested in 5 previous tokens. No, but you're a dumper. No. So you like Metaverse projects, but you dump them as soon as you can. Now, maybe the project wants that kind of investor. Then they say, cool, we want this guy as part of the IDO allocation. Right now on launchpads, projects cannot handpick retail investors. Yeah. Allocation is lottery, it's guaranteed staking, it's auctions, it's those kind of mechanisms. Now, we have the guaranteed allocation via staking, that's 70% of the platform, but we also have the engage to earn mechanism, which is 30%. And that is basically your investor profile that says to projects, signals to projects, whether or not they want to give you personally allocation. So they'll look at our leaderboards, the top 100 investors, let's say overall, okay, we want them, because it also means they are micro influencers, they are ambassadors, right? And so the whole idea is, if you're a retail investor, look, I mean, meme coins, let's talk for a second about meme coins. Meme coins make so much sense right now, although it doesn't make sense, because every retail investor has crashed and burnt from the IDO process. People are done. They've just been losing money. VCs dump, KOLs dump, everyone dumps. But we need the retail investors. They are the guys that do the reshares on Twitter and join the AMAs. But how are we rewarding them? We are treating them insultfully, really. And so I think Adlunum has always set out from the very beginning, because I was involved with the ICOs in the early days, right? So, like, I know what retail investors go through. I know what projects go through. Like, I feel it because I understand the entire journey. And so I think only when we say, hey, we're going to stop building for us, we're going to stop building for the industry. We're going to build for those people that if I stand in front of someone who's lost money in crypto, I don't want to be part of the problem. I want to be part of the solution. If I can stand in front of that person and say, hey, I'm sorry we failed you, but I promise you we're doing better, then I'm on the right track. And that's kind of, the mission of Adlunum.
Yeah. So who's your ultimate customer at Adlunum?
So because we're a platform and ecosystem that connects to different stakeholders, it is both retail investors as well as projects. Retail investors in the sense, launchpads, of course, the purpose of a launchpad is an additional layer of due diligence to make sure that, the project is safe to invest in, that you are able to get an opportunity to invest in that project. So there's a typical utility for a launchpad, but what we've done is we've merged the launchpad and the social part so that it's not this pop-up community only. You don't only go there when there's an IDO. For projects, on the other hand, they need community, but they They don't want the pop-up communities. They want the communities like, I mean, imagine there's so many projects here at WoW Summit today. You are not interested in all of them, and they are not all interested in you. But some of them is a perfect freaking fit. Yet, how do you find each other? And so at Lunam is really how projects and retail investors find each other.
Absolutely. So let me ask you this: is that for a token generation, or is that for, let's say, fundraising for the startup, like a traditional startup would do?
So very much focused on tokenized investments, but I don't think that ultimately
is that
we'll...
for equity or just
for token, for Web3,
Yeah.
for IDO, TGE. Although we do definitely see a shift in the market at the moment. I think the tokenization / equity split has become a lot more, not for us personally as a business per se, but the investment trends over the last 3 years or so, increasingly moving to a bit of a hybrid model, but I think there's a lot of like kinks to work out there. But yeah, just to ultimately, kind of recap, I think as a company that focuses on social, the launchpad is, kind of a modular approach. So sometimes the launchpad is very pertinent. Sometimes it's not necessarily so pertinent, in the sense right now we are focusing on the early stage communication for projects and retail investors. But in future, so for example, Engine Starter, Prakash is the CEO. Prakash is one of our advisors. So Engine Starter, another launchpad, they have been brilliant over the bear market in terms of bringing good projects to their community. But they are not, because like all the other launchpads, it's pop-up communities. They don't have the ability, because of their own tokenomics as a straight up launchpads, to reward these communities on a daily basis. Yeah. So Engine Starter can have a community on at Lunam where they are still doing the IDO, they are still doing the public sale. We might not even be involved with the public sale, but the social fi aspect of the platform, we are able to reward their communities with our tokens, with their tokens, with anybody's tokens. So it's really a platform for people to come, and we just want to say thank you for your time and attention. There's 24 hours in a day. Why should you spend time on our project? Yeah. So if you do, oh my God, that's amazing. Thank you. Here's something back to say we value you.
Okay. Are you looking for a certain level of a startup, or let's say there is Sandbox Metaverse and someone's creating a project within Sandbox Metaverse, and frankly they're looking for some money to grow this startup, would that be a project that you would work with? Or?
So we are setting up our own fund, but that will only be post our own TGE. So at the moment, our narrative is literally whatever our investors' narratives are, and so because it's our job to make sure that if you come to us, that ultimately we are able to connect you to these institutional investors that want to invest in you. Yeah. And so that really depends on the narrative of the moment. We are agnostic. We don't work with securities, so that's we don't necessarily work with NFTs or with so it's more kind of altcoins and the utility tokens of solving a problem.
Metaverse as well?
Metaverse, I wouldn't consider Metaverse not it is a utility, right? I think it's a utility that's perhaps not seen the kind of growth potential that we would like, but at the same time, tech, the thing with tech, it takes freaking forever. AI started in the 60s. Yeah. AI started long before any of us knew we would be here on this planet. So for us to say that, Metaverse has been around for 4 years and therefore it's not working, no, it's not how it works. Things move slowly. Even in tech, things move slowly, And so it's just about understanding. See, Metaverse is the same thing. Why is the Metaverse necessary? If the Metaverse is necessary because you want to raise funds, then it's probably not necessary. Yeah. If the Metaverse is necessary because it seems like a good idea because everyone else is doing it, it's not a good idea. Yeah. However, if you understand that the Metaverse is solving for problems that perhaps society is not even experiencing yet. COVID was a great example, right? COVID, we basically had a Zoom metaverse. Yeah. Everyone was on Zoom. Everyone and the politicians and the kids screaming in the background, we were all on Zoom. Yeah. but that was a very subpar experience. Now, I would love to come to a conference like this, but it be in the metaverse, and I have, augmented reality, and I have haptic technology, and it almost feels to me like I'm physically there. So I think there's incredible growth potential for the metaverse as well. But then we have to understand, why do we need the metaverse? Why does it exist? Why is it going to be relevant in 10, 20, 30 years from now, when AI and tech has completely transformed our landscape from what we know today?
Let me ask a very controversial opinion question. Again, this is
I love controversy.
So, do you think we need another lockdown, global lockdown, for Metaverse to have its own heyday?
Please, God, no. I've had enough lockdowns for one lifetime. I think what COVID unlocked, every generation has I don't want to say a highlight, because it's usually a very traumatic event. But every generation has a signature event that completely defines that generation. For me, I think it was probably 9/11, because nothing happened in my life up until 9/11, and 9/11 was the biggest event, right? And society shifted fundamentally forever post 9/11. So I think COVID is one of those things. It has changed things. What it has changed, so I started working remotely in 2012. I started homeschooling my son in 2012. I started traveling the world, became a digital nomad in 2017. I started working in digital marketing in 2012. So I was early to things. Blockchain, all these things, I'm early to these things. This is not the case for most humans on Earth. COVID changed that. Everyone was working remotely. Everyone was homeschooling. Everyone suddenly had time and freedom to ask themselves, what am I beyond my daily schedule? So I don't think we need another one. Please, no. I will not be able to handle it. Although, every time I see there's any kind of thing on the news, I'm like, man, I better stock up, because you never know what's going to happen. So I think it was a bad experience, but it opened people's eyes. And that's when we had the NFT craze. We had the DeFi and the NFT summer. People started asking beyond what they see on a daily basis. People started asking, why do I have to be at the office for 8 hours? I never am even productive for 8 hours there. I'm just pretending to be productive. Why can't I pretend to be productive from home? And then they find, but if I'm not needed for 8 hours, maybe I can balance my life a little bit more. Maybe I can start jogging, I don't know, and baking bread. And, and so I feel like COVID reminded us what it means to be human. And we need this in an age of AI, right? Because now AI is coming. So I think that planted a seed for us. And now it's up to us to say, look, all these big forces are not always for us. But we remember how great it was to be at home and Netflix and chill. And despite COVID being really bad, we rediscovered what it means to live, I think. And I'm bullish on that, but not via another pandemic, please.
Okay, all right. How does both at Lunum as well as Altcoin Observer look at the world of Metaverse? Are you planning to have your own Metaverse?
So we did initially talk about it at the time that the Metaverse was a hot narrative then. But I think, it's, as I said earlier, I think it's really important to understand why you need something. And so we have spoken about doing things in the metaverse, perhaps having one. We actually have a really cool penthouse in Spatial. So Exclusible, amazing company. If you're looking for anything metaverse related, they built this incredible penthouse for us. So we actually do our company parties in the metaverse. We have a gallery of photos, company accomplishments. We all have our avatars. We go there. But for me, I prefer Zoom to this because it's cute and it's fun, but it's not solving a problem for me yet. I will be all in on the metaverse when it solves my problem. So I think, again, we are not solving everyone's problem all at once. But I think if we have an outcomes-based approach that always starts with the problem, because the worst thing is to build this amazing thing only to find that no one cares, right? So don't build it and then they will come. Show them while you are building. Show them step by step. If they see that you're building, they'll give you their opinion, and then you know that it's really, you know, what you want out there, because people will then want to buy in.
Yep. How do you see Altcoin Observer as well as at Lunum in the next 5 years or 10 years?
So, I mean, I think, you know, when you tie your own personal brand to a company brand, that becomes you. So these are extensions of us, of who we are as co-founders, as a team. These are the values that we come to the table with every day. So I think for us, you know, this industry is amazing. It has incredible potential, but it's not always safe. And it's not always a good place to be. And I think as at Lunum and as Altcoin, we want to ensure that there is an industry 5 years from now. We want to make sure that not only are we around, but we are not still talking about when Moon and when adoption. It's just, I mean, we need to, how many, you know, let me ask you a question. How many Web3 dApps do you use every single day or even once a week?
There's at least 2-3.
He's way more of a DJ than I am. I use only my wallet. And it's not because...
You should start using Upland and Sandbox.
Listen to the shilling over here. So I love Sandbox.
We are a Sandbox ambassador, and we're also an Upland broadcasting partner. So.
Okay, well, ladies and gentlemen, I am sold. This gentleman right here has done his job. I am going to be on Upland and on Sandbox.
Yeah.
So do you use it on a daily basis?
Upland, yes. Sandbox, yes.
That's fantastic, because you know, everyone I ask in our industry have the same answer as me, my wallet.
Well, we are the Metaverse Street Journal. They're not the Metaverse Street Journal.
So exactly, you are definitely superior to the average person in this question.
It is our bread and butter, because we are not core crypto people. We're core Metaverse people.
Right.
So that is our.
So then, sorry, I don't know why I'm interviewing you, but just since you are the Metaverse guy over here, what do you feel separates the Metaverse from the rest of crypto? Because I mean, we have all these different pockets. We have crypto, we have Web3, we have blockchain, we have institutional.
If I give you the honest answer here,
you're gonna whisper.
The honest answer is that I don't think Metaverse needs crypto. We can exist without crypto. For example, Upland for the longest time did not have any crypto associated with it. You would use your debit card and your credit card, and you would use PayPal to make payments. You didn't need MetaMask or whatever. They've just recently launched their token, and that is also a utility token. So for the longest time, you could just use as a normal debit card and a credit card, and that I think. And I know I'm answering the questions right now, but I think that is a critique of the industry that a lot of people have, that the Metaverse and Web3 industry forces everyone to use cryptos, where the same technology, because end of the day it's about using the technology, could be experienced by using your debit card, your credit card, and PayPal. Why not?
I actually met, it's not necessarily 100% solving for this problem, but I met with a company at Redacted Nia's event, I think yesterday or the day before, and they allow you, even if you're participating in an IDO, they allow you to buy with your credit card. Now that's still, of course, purchasing tokens, but I think what has happened in this space is because, look, everyone needs funding, right? Like funding is, I mean, you can't run a company without funding. Bootstrapping only takes you so far. Crypto funding, historically not, I think, anymore, but historically has been easy to come by. And so this mentality of everything needs to be tokenized because everything needs to be funded. And so funding and tokenization has become, you know, almost parallel, synonymous. But I 100% agree with you. I think that before even asking what problem you are solving, if you are already in Web3, the number one question you should be solving is, do you need Web3? Because sometimes, I mean, even though you're in the industry, doesn't mean that everything has to be tokenized. Some things do not. I mean, first of all, I do not use any tokens on a daily basis myself, and I am as invested in the space as can be. So if you haven't solved for me I'm not sure then.
Also, I know we're just having a conversation now, but there's a difference between having a token versus tokenization versus token gating something.
Exactly.
So token gating is something I personally believe is gonna define the next leg of Web3 and Metaverse, because you're token gating experiences. If you have X NFT or X token, then you can access this or that or whatever, right?
So I had I host a show. I don't know if I said this earlier. I've spoken to so many people that I feel like I'm repeating the same thing 50 times. So I host a show called The Future of NFTs, which is really just the future of Web3.
Yes.
And so a lot of the people that we talk to there is. So Sports Illustrated is one example.
Yeah.
Sports Illustrated has Sports Illustrated tickets, SI tickets. Now that's their Web3 arm, where they sell tickets using Web3.
Yeah.
Is Sports Illustrated a Web3 company? I mean, I think they'd be horrified if anyone were to call them that. But they are actively leveraging Web3 technology because they've recognized that for ticketing especially, NFTs are probably the best technology that we have going forward unless something better comes along, right?
Yeah.
And so it's one thing, as you say, to use a token to gate access, but it's another thing to token, because now you look at companies that, I mean, their entire business model is the tokenomics. That's the only revenue. It's not very well designed. I mean, it's not designed for longevity in mind. And so when the token crashes, the company is gone.
Yeah.
So there's no brand equity even, because there was no company to begin with. There was only, the ticker was a ticking time bomb, basically. And that was the entire company. And look, I mean, Web3 needs a sandbox. We need innovation, right? We need a space where we can say, hey, we're allowed to make mistakes. We're allowed to mess things up, move fast and break things. However, what we cannot say is that now defines the entire industry. And that's what we've done. Now we're saying, cool, if you want to be in Web3, you have to be as degen as possible. You have to always make sure, because, you know, everyone's going to steal your funds and it's not safe. And this is not a space that I want to introduce people to. I want my friends and my family to join me in this industry because I believe in it. But if I care about them, I will let them stay away. Now, the day that changes, the day when I feel my loved ones are safe, then I think we've done a good job. But the way there is not always going to be through tokenization. And that's the issue. We are still making that mistake, but retail is helping us a lot, because retail is saying, sorry, I'm not interested. I don't want to listen to you anymore. I'm just going to go to memes. And that's what I love about memes, is I think it's a wake-up call for the industry. I think the industry, as you say, can be a metaverse without being a crypto.
Yeah.
It can be a X without being a Y. Like we don't have to still. It's like you were popular in primary school, and so now you tell everyone, you know, I was really popular when I was 13. You know,
I was actually an influencer on Orkut.
Oh my God! Look at you. Okay, well, I was not popular when I was 13, I think. So yeah. You've started early. Congrats.
Absolutely.
So that's the thing, right? So I mean, you can't rest on previous accomplishments. We've done great things, but now's the time to say, look, the space, we need to clean it up.
Yeah.
Throw it all out. The retail's gone. VCs are gone. Everyone's gone right now. We are here at this amazing venue, but no one wants to put in money.
Yeah.
And that's good, because only when the money stops flowing do we stop and say, okay, it seems like we need to change things. And now I think we are changing things. So next year, look, there's not going to stop being silly money. It is magic internet money, and people love, you know, promises. And I mean, it's who we are as a species, right? We're gamblers. We like lotteries. We like risk and chance. I mean, it's just who we are. But I don't think we have to say that if we want to be in that space, we have to make it the worst possible space to be. Originally, we said we're going to change the world, so let's do it, right? Let's change the world.
Absolutely. Well, do you have any last final thoughts for everybody? I think we've been talking.
I mean, I feel like the "let's change the world" was like kind of the best line that I had, but I might repeat it with a dramatic look. No, I think, you know, curiosity is the one thing that has always stood me in good stead. there's a lot of changes in the world right now. It's a crazy freaking place, no matter what generation you are, no matter what country you are. None of us know what's going to happen next. And it is scary, but it's also super exciting.
Yeah.
When I see something, I always take the approach of, ooh, what is this?
Yeah.
I don't know if I like it yet. I don't know if I dislike it yet. But I think if you keep this curious mindset, because the world of work is changing, right? You need to ensure, even if you don't care about technology, you need to make sure you have a job tomorrow.
Yeah.
Because you need a job to pay bills, to feed yourself and your family. So these are still very pertinent things. And technology, as we know, technology is upending everything, right? And so how are we going to make sure that we are prepared for tomorrow that we can't even imagine? Is be curious. Just don't stop asking questions. Don't get distracted by, I mean, look, YouTube is great. TikTok is, well, I don't know. I don't say TikTok is great. YouTube is great. There's a lot of distractions. But are you investing in their future or are you investing in your future? Because if you're watching their content and you're not learning anything and applying it, then it's you're investing in their reach and their influence and their audience and their numbers. But where's yours? Where's your time that you're investing in your future? So yeah.
And of course, watch content from MSJ.
I will be watching it from now on. Now that I hear that you guys are the Metaverse guys, not we also talk about Metaverse. Whenever someone supports something in a bear market, that's when I support them. The Metaverse has a bear market right now. So if you guys are all in on that, I'm all in on you.
I actually... I'm not sure if you know about this saying by a former Chinese premier called Deng Xiaoping. He has a saying called hide your strength, bide your time. And that is essentially what we're planning to do. People talk us down and from that perspective, I believe personally, of course people can disagree, but I believe that people that are actually building within the Metaverse, like that everyone else thinks that Metaverse is dead and nothing is going to come out of Metaverse, because we're able to build silently without the pressure of competition, and that helps. That
right, because that was the bear market now as well, right? Like everyone who came in 2021, you saw the strength of their conviction as soon as the market was no longer insanely good. And so the ones who stayed when everyone said no, when everyone said, listen, I don't care what you're doing, it's all stupid and it's all dead, the ones who stayed and still built the thing, because they were building for a problem. They were not building for easy money. And that always is, the differentiating factor. So I think in terms of Metaverse Street Journal, if you guys have the strength of conviction to say that in your version of the future, the Metaverse is going to feature, that's how that reality gets created, right? Like we vote with our time and we vote with our dollars. And I think whatever we support as a community, that's going to grow. I mean, meme coins, I don't think people anticipated how big that was going to get, but that's community driven. So if anything that we do, we rally together, that is the thing that's going to happen. There's no, God with a fairy godmother with a wand saying, I pick you today. Exactly. Well, there's a crypto mother, I guess, in the meme coin space.
But how do you think the election of President Donald Trump is going to impact the industry?
Well, listen, as we sit here, Bitcoin is at an all-time high. In fact, it might even be at a higher all-time high since we sat down. It certainly seems very positive from a sentiment perspective. I hope that the regulation will pan out. I hope that it's, if I say on Monday that I'm going to do it on Sunday, I hope it's still the case on Sunday. But the indications at the moment look very good. It seems that every time there's a address, the Bitcoin pumps post that. So interested to see where it's going to go in the next few months. I mean, look, if the US becomes more open to innovation, I think we are going to enter a new era in the space.
I'm going to ask you a question that may become the headline for the news industry. Since we know that President Trump has talked about creating a Bitcoin strategic reserve, do you think he should also create an altcoin strategic reserve? that's coming from the founder of the Altcoin Observer, just so everyone knows. So
I don't know if I've ever felt more on the spot in my life. So I just want to give you the credit for this very, very difficult question.
Yeah.
I don't think that altcoins are ready for the limelight until we've grown up. I think if we need to clean up our act. As I said earlier, wouldn't want my friends and my family in this space right now.
Yeah.
And so if we are going to offer alternatives, we have to make sure that they are cleaner than their predecessors.
Yeah.
Bitcoin is truly decentralized, which is why we don't need to have this conversation. No matter what we feel, what we do, Bitcoin is still there, existing, being mined, growing. With altcoins, it's a lot more centralized. And so I think the issue is always the people, the humans involved. And so anytime that there's a larger concentration of humans that are determining things, for me, that's a cause for concern.
Yeah.
Because then I need to do due diligence on those humans.
Yeah.
And maybe they pass my due diligence, maybe they don't. And so if they don't, what does that mean? So I think, I think altcoins offer an incredible opportunity, but I think it's a bit early in the sense that, not to say that people understand the stock market, but I think that we have an opportunity. As I told you earlier, I learned about the industry's solutions, and then that's how I learned about the problems. So I think we need more time for people to really understand what's going on. People don't understand ownership in Web 2. They don't understand privacy. Data ownership is no one talks about this, no one cares, no one knows. So how are we telling them, hey, let's go all out on the new thing, but you don't even know what your reality is around you right now. And so I think everything is coming to a point, for sure, because you have Web3 regulation, you have AI regulation, you have governments who have had a lot of time to figure stuff out. You have innovation that's in an ever, race with regulation. So there's just a lot of things, and I think now with the election, with a lot of geopolitical changes that probably are going to come as a result of the election, I think we are going to see a new era. And ultimately, I think we are moving to a point where we don't have to talk about something being Web3. We don't have to talk about something being Metaverse. When I started in digital marketing, as it was called back then, you had to explain to people, what does it mean, digital marketing? People didn't get it.
Yeah.
Today, how silly would you sound if you're trying to explain, I work in digital marketing. Isn't all marketing digital? So I think that's the point we are leading up to. But we are early, man. We are really early. Bitcoin was released if I feel it was yesterday, compared to someone who's older than me, I was born yesterday. So if I also feel it was yesterday, it was really yesterday. We have a very small window that we've occupied thus far. AI was first developed in the 60s. We are now in 2024. Now the average person is experiencing AI. What about those decades and decades and decades of industry investment? I'm talking about human capital investment that went into these spaces. We didn't know about them, and now we do.
So a lot of people regret not buying Bitcoin at $3, $2, $1. Do you think people are going to regret not buying into Metaverse right now, 7 years down the line, 10 years down the line?
For me, I feel like the Metaverse is too varied for people to have that sense, and I'm going to substantiate why. On my show, I very often have different Metaverse experts from across the metasphere, if you can call it that. Some of them are heavily into crypto, some of them are basically not in crypto at all, some of them are in the tech, some of them are in the training space or education. So I've spoken to a lot of people, and I found that the definition is still lacking, because some people see Metaverse as Facebook, as Meta. Some people see Metaverse as Roblox. Some people see it as, training for pilots. Some see it as Sandbox. So I think the definition is quite broad. And so for people to feel like they miss out, they'd need to see a use case first that they resonate with. I'm like the FOMO aspect. I'm missing out if I'm not there.
May I suggest that you subscribe to the Blockchain Gaming Alliance? They have an annual report they have an amazing definition of metaverse, which is essentially a 3D virtual environment. That is what it is.
So I think after this chat that we have, I'm going to have a list of companies that I'm going to have to go look up. So you're full of alpha. Thank you. I will definitely have a look. But so I think for me, if even the experts that I speak to are not yet able to fully agree on what it's going to look like, then it's not yet time for retail. I think what COVID really did was to highlight the limitations that we have. So you were a Zoom person, but that was it. And then we realized, no, I don't want to just be a Zoom person. I want more. So I think if metaverse developers and everyone working in the metaverse environment, which of course there are a lot of people in different areas of the metaverse, but I think if the question starts there, what is currently not available? And keep in mind, Henry Ford said, if you ask people what they wanted, they would have said faster horses. It doesn't necessarily mean going to someone saying, hey, I know you don't know what the metaverse is, but if you had one, what would you want? It's not going to work like that. But we need to see, cool, COVID, people were missing physical interaction. How can the metaverse bring physical interaction? I don't know, but I can be curious and I can go look for the answer, and maybe 2 years from now, I have a company.
Yeah. Well, I will leave the final comment because I think we've gone way over time.
I don't even want to look at the clock right now.
So I would just say, be very careful who you think is an expert in the metaverse, because not everyone who claims to be an expert is an expert in the metaverse. However, with that being said, it's been a pleasure.
It has been so amazing.
Before I end this conversation, I'm just going to leave all my viewers with the last thought that I always say. You be the arbiter of truth, the viewers of the Metaverse Street Journal. Thank you everybody for watching. Thank you very much.
Thank you. That's a lovely last line to finish off. Thank you.
Yeah.
Introducing Sparklet, the utility token in Upland, an immersive Layer 1 gaming platform that empowers players to build and create like never before. Spark is a utility token in Upland that enables players to build on their properties, develop neighborhoods, manufacture items, and create unique assets that set their empire apart. Sparklet is the resource required for entrepreneurs to create content, experiences, and assets via no-code user-friendly tools. Upland entrepreneurs and creators use Sparklet to build shops, factories, and showrooms for their meta ventures and to create user-generated content and mint virtual assets. Third-party developers use Sparklet to establish developer shops for map presence and to implement zero-code Web3 and NFT strategies on the Upland platform. Partners and brands even need Sparklet to create virtual assets for events, minigames, and competitions, powering their metaverse strategies for fan engagement and monetization. Sparklet is powering the future of Upland, driving creativity and innovation in the virtual property strategy game you love. So don't miss out on the opportunity to take your Upland experience to the next level. Get Sparklet and start building today. Everyone is talking about the immersive gaming platform called Upland, where you can create your ultimate digital universe by buying virtual versions of real-world properties and unlocking endless possibilities. In Upland, it's easy to become a digital landowner, build up your properties, create shops, manufacture cars, and even earn WebX coins while you play. You can race your cars or fly your private planes across your digital empire. But it's not just about building, it's about connecting with the most active and vibrant community in the space. Our in-game chat and activity feeds allow you to network and build meaningful relationships with other players, share strategies, and celebrate your successes together. Not only that, you can unlock a world of Layer 2 applications and experiences built by players just like you, adding even more depth and excitement to your Upland journey. Don't miss out on the chance to immerse yourself in this extremely entertaining gaming platform. Upland is available now on iPhone, Android, Mac, or PC.